Hindus to become MPs in Canada. Please understand that. I clarified this doubt of Hana long long back in spaces. See, when the elections were taking place, they have an agenda. They want people to come in power who are seeking divisions. See, we seek unity. Hindus, Hindus are seekers. You can do all the bad name to us, pagan and pagan culture, mandir, and all that problems that you will say. We have a we have a we have a system that we don't want you to become Hindu, okay? Let me tell you, the whole world wants to become India Christian. There's a big church being built in Jalandhar right now, Jalandhar, Christian church, and Sikhs are not talking anything about it. Please understand what's going on. Islam as a religion is being used by deep state to create anarchy all over the world. Europe is already fallen. I have nothing against people. So people are people, but they are trained in their mind from childhood how they perceive the other person. That's what the training the human mind is not easy. Human, see, I can go on philosophy, but I'll stop here to answer your question. What has Khalistan to do with Canada? Zero. There is no there is no reason to have so many MPs because they push them, they support them, they want that to happen. Otherwise, go to the website NAIC handle. NAIC is a great handle on Twitter. Go and look at it, that handle, NAIC at NAIC. You will see in my handle. Why Pierre Poliver doesn't promote it? Why Trudeau never promoted it? They do not want right people to come in power. You saw how President Trump has won finally because people saw through it. They saw that he was being abused and people supported him, and God also protected him somehow. Otherwise, you could have been assassinated. That very shot would have gone in his head that went through his ears. So please understand what's going on. It is not going to be an easy fight. This will be a the times that are coming are very challenging within Canada and within other countries too, because deep state is totally hell. Otherwise, you tell me, what is the point? Canada doing the same thing which UK is doing, Canada is doing, Australia is doing. They have a plan, they have an agenda. United States has said you are rewarding terrorists by creating this state. Only the United States President Trump has said this. So where were they when October 7 happened? And now they are telling us if somebody comes to your house, you call the police and don't protect your daughter and his wife and kids. What are we telling criminals to start invading houses in Canada? That is what is the clear message of a police chief. So it is very complex why they are doing it. I don't understand it. Why deep state wants to do this? The answer only seems to be that they want only two classes in the world: elite and the slaves. So with this, I will land my plane, and Hana, you can take over. There are other speakers. We will listen to them. Thank you.
Actually, I'd like to take a shot at that if I could.
Absolutely, Vlad. Go ahead.
First of
You're
all,
listening, guys. Turning
I
Point Canada, and we
ho-
are. Hold on,
host. I need
Vlad,
to
please.
take care of. I need to take care of one thing. I have
Okay, go ahead,
something going on,
Navneet.
so I will be
Go ahead,
back. Okay.
Navneet.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect. No problem. Vlad, hold on. Just would like to say and repeat again. You guys are listening. Turning Point Canada. Freedom of speech. Don't forget that. Jump in, Vlad. Let's go.
first of all, I found that very enjoyable. It's like that was like some of the best observation I've heard for a while. The parts that I understood, not going to say I understood all of it. I would make I would make some changes though, but not to blame him because again he was working. How would I say this? He was working like top down rather than bottom up. He was looking at things from the outside and coming up with really good analysis based on what he saw. And so I don't fault anybody for seeing it differently, but I wouldn't say it's deep state. I'd say it's anti state. And that actually will explain a lot about some of the questions that he raised. What the difference is deep state is just the bureaucracy which supports the machinery of a working state. We need a deep state. Deep state's good, right? Deep state are the people that just make sure the checks and balances and make sure everything's working according to, excuse me, according to what the what the, let's say, the parameters of the republic in which you live should work. Right? Deep state is desirable. What we're seeing here is that what's taken over is an anti-state. It is organizations and captured institutions of state that are deliberately working to destroy every aspect of the state. And your last guest actually drilled down on a bunch of stuff but didn't get to the core. He said that they were trying to take down Indians and take down Hinduisms and take down, and on the surface, I guess if you weren't used to listening to that sort of thing, that might sound nuts, but the truth of the matter is they're actually trying to do something more sinister than that. They're trying to destroy identity. They're trying to destroy all of our identity, because identity is the only thing that holds groups together in such a way that we might actually get together and fight back against the tyranny which is obliterating our civilization, our history, our sense of ourselves, our culture, our values, our beliefs. Okay? So he's right. They are trying to destroy, and it also explains like why he said they don't want maybe any Hindu MPs. I don't know if that's true or not, but what they do want is as much of the destructive forces as they can. And when he said that they were using Islam to do it, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Islam is one of the prime, not the only tool, but is absolutely one of the most effective tools, because it is a threat doctrine against everything else that is in the world. Every other system of human organization is anathema to Islam. Islam doesn't really have a philosophy, There isn't much to it. If you read the Quran and the Hadiths, and you read the Sunnah, and you read Reliance of the Traveler, I forget what the Arabic name for that is, but if you read the canon of Islamic scripture, and you go online, you listen to what are called khutbahs. Khutbahs are the sermons given, especially on the Friday prayer sessions. It is pretty much just hatred and destruction, and how they have to hate the Christian and hate the Jew and the unbeliever, and that there's an obligation to take over everything for Islam, right? There's no end to that too. When Islam takes over a place, then the trick becomes to make it more and more increasingly Islamic, and eventually some places kind of wise up and get a dictator to put a limit on that. But at the end of the day, Islam is a destructive force, and it's being used for that. It's that's why I get annoyed with people when they start talking about hypocrisy of our leaders. Our leaders aren't hypocritical. Just you don't know what they're doing. What they're doing is importing lots and lots of Muslims and paying them to be anti-Semitic, then complaining about anti-Semitism. Why? Because what they want to do is you want to use Islamic chaos to implement more state controls. I think some people would call that the Hegelian dialectic. Thesis, counter thesis, synthesis, or problem reaction solution, right? You create a problem, and then people people react to that problem, and then demand that the state supplies the solution it wanted in the first place, which is complete and total control of everything. I think that's close enough, I guess, but it's really not. That's not really quite it. That's a very thin version of it. Carney, for instance, before he ran, he actually said that things are going to get worse for Canada. In his book, Values, which is dialectically named, meaning, it's like Islam's a religion of peace and the vaccines are safe and effective, right? These are all spell casting. But anyway, in his book, Values, he said, Canadians are going to eat less meat. Well, guess what? The price of meat's gone through the roof. And it's not for free market reasons. If we had an honest economy, we had a real free market, well-regulated free market, meat would be cheap in Canada. We have tons of space and lots of cattle, great farmers and good farming, right? But the government's put its thumb on both sides of every scale in order to create. Now, your last guest again made a statement that thrilled me, because so few people get that. Our governments are creating scarcity, and he's right. That's the only thing communist governments are good at, is the deliberate creation of scarcity. And one of the things I do, the odd time I ever talk to people, like this is one of them, but the rare time I talk to people, I beg them, please go to YouTube and look for a full and complete audio book of 1984. I mean, I would say go read the book, but nobody will do it, right? No one's got the attention span for that. But you can get the audio book and listen to it on your phone while you're walking to work or walking the dog, and it's a fantastic way to spend the time walking. And they absolutely specifically say in 1984, Orwell explains that the purpose of the communist state is to create scarcity. It's the only thing it does well, and it does it on purpose. So the tiny scraps that you have, you value, and you owe it to Big Brother. You owe it to the state. That rusty razor blade you have, and the shoelace you had to fix with glue. That's what that's what the communist state does. So he's right. They are trying to create scarcity. And so look, what I'm saying may sound outrageous. I'm just going to give you a couple of proofs, and I'll let someone else talk. Assuming I'm still here. I mean, it's so quiet that I'm wondering if I'm just sitting on the bench talking to myself. But
No. Keep going. Keep
okay,
going. That's
okay.
good. That's a really interesting, Vlad. Come on.
So let's say a couple of examples. So um, our government's using a different system of thought called dialectics, and that would be a multi-hour conversation. But I'm just going to just use the word, and I'm going to skip stones over it for now, hoping that it kind of helps make the point a little bit. So you know that the government is deliberately bringing in millions upon millions of people from hot countries. Okay. So I've talked to two experts. One is a PhD in biology, and one of them is a PhD in multi-PhD and a professor of what do you call it? Geology. Okay? And he's a professor at American University in geology, and his particular field of study is, I think, in fuels, gas and natural gas, liquid natural gas, and so on. Right. What he told me was that each person that you transplant from a hot country like Africa, the Middle East, to a place like Canada, you multiply their carbon footprint by 10 times. I mean, carbon footprint alone is a stupid word, right? But if we're going to use the enemy language, let's use it. Let's have a look at it. So you take someone from Africa and you move them to Canada. Suddenly they need a heated place, and they need a car, and they need a cool, air-conditioned place in summer, and a heated place, 24/7 in the winter. And the lifestyle requires a great deal of energy. You raise their carbon footprint by 10 times, moving them to Canada. Now, this isn't a secret. Anybody could just think about it for 5 seconds and realize it's true, right? But it's obviously known by the government. They don't deny it, but they certainly don't talk about it. So when you hear Carney talk about net zero and all that stuff, you know that it's and I don't even like using the word lie, because it isn't really a lie. It's a dialectic. They're launching a series of attacks on our reality in order to create an outcome, which is one we would never accept in a million years. Not peacefully, that's for sure. But they keep hammering us with this bollocks so that we will slowly, but not that slowly, slide into absolute totalitarian Orwellian nightmarism. And they're destroying our culture and our cohesiveness by mass immigration of people who hate us with no expectations that they'll integrate. They're absolutely making our religion, I mean the state religion of Canada was Christianity, right? I'm not saying that it excluded other religions, it did not. But it was based on Christian principles. And those Christian principles are being made illegal. You get this guy, I went and saw him, that Christian rock guy. I didn't like the music personally, but I went and saw him just because I wanted to see what all the fuss was about. I have my own criticisms, but it had nothing to do with his content, right? It had more to do with the overcompression of the bass and drums. But he was banned from every venue all the way across Canada. He had to go play in farmers' fields and stuff like that. That's insane. But they don't. But there's Muslims who preach death to a whole community, death to Canada, death to the Jews, death to Israel. They're on the streets every single day. Their Quran is pure hate speech according to Canadian law. But it's actually a crime to burn the Quran, even if you own it, which, by the way, itself is an attack on private property, right? Because once you say that it's a hate crime to go buy a Quran and then to burn it, and it's a hate crime, but wait, this is my book. If I can't, why can't I burn my book? What difference does it make what it says? Which brings me to actually one of the real distinctions I like between Christianity and Islam. The Quran is a fetish with Muslims, right? They don't really, some of them memorize it, but they don't really read it, if you know what I mean. Christians, they love the Bible. They will read through it, and they'll dog ear it, and they'll highlight it, and they'll put bookmarks in. And you look at a religious Christian, you look at it, you flip through his Bible, and it is beautifully underlined and marked with pencils and pens and highlighters. And you just know he loves that book. It's not the book he loves. It's the ideas in it. It's the things it says that he loves. But if you damage a Quran, the Muslims will kill you. Why? Because it's not really about the ideas. It's a fetish. It's a symbol of this of supremacy. And if you burn that book, you're challenging symbols of Islamic supremacy, and they will frickin' kill you for that because it's about power. For Islam. And that's why the let's I'm going to use a word here, Comintern, which is a newspeak term for Communist International, right? Normally, I don't like using newspeak, but I think in this particular context, it's appropriate. So the Comintern, Communist International, is absolutely using Islam as one of its principal tools, as well as global warming, one of its principal tools. Of course, vaccines, what did that do? Well, that destroyed your basic sense of bodily autonomy, right? You can't even decide for yourself what medications you want or not take. And they made people take one that everybody in their gut. I mean, just about everybody at some level knew there's something wrong with this. Like, wait, this has never been done before. Yeah, we really are loyal to this political party or that political leader, so we're going to take it because he said to. But some part of them must have said, this is just weird, right? So they'd removed from us our right to ourselves with the vaccines. They've removed from us our right of of our national identity, because one of the dialectics, of course, is one of the dialectics they've launched in us in the last couple of years was the mass graves thing. The idea was they weren't any. They're still pushing that narrative like it was true, but they dug it up and everything, and they've looked with the X-rays and the X-band radar and stuff, and they never found any graves. They found some rocks, but they're still pushing policy based on the fiction of the residential schools. And when I say fiction, it's much worse than just that there weren't a lot of dead Amerindian children there. It's that that residential schools were actually progressive for the day. The idea was what they wanted to do was help the Indians out of poverty by educating the children in the methods of Western civilization and trades and science and so on, so that they could bring up the level of standard of living of their communities. That was the purpose.
Vlad, I have a question for you, Vlad. Okay, and listen to me carefully. I'm joking, but listen this one. Canadian are being silenced. Okay, you you will agree with me. We are as we speak right now. So the government writes bill like the C11, the bill C18. We're sold as being like helping artists, and it's just about censorship and controlling narrative, right? Do you think Canada is already like on the road to becoming like China? I'm gonna ask you that. Hold on. I'll ask you this question, and I will ask Anya after that. So go ahead, please, and thank you, sir.
Yeah, well, are we on the road to becoming like China? Well, I think the Canadians are going to look at China with envy because China is still, believe it or not, China is still a nation state. So let's define those two terms, right? You have a state, which is like a bureaucracy that controls a region, right? That's a state. A nation is people. And China are all Han Chinese. If you're not Han Chinese, you're a second class citizen, right? The Uyghurs are not treated well in China, right? So Canada is being deracinated. We will not have a people. We almost already don't. See, what the first of all, what they did to us, one of the things they did to us years ago, Trudeau Sr., the communist, was multiculturalism. And that's an oxymoron. It's an oxymoron, people like to say, right? Why is it an oxymoron? Because culture is a defining set of rules about how you treat each other, how you view each other, and how you live. And laws are based on culture. For instance, you and I both believe theft is wrong and rape is wrong, right? But other cultures don't. And you can't have cultures that don't think that feel different ways about those two activities living in the same place. You can't have it. Multiculturalism was one of the first destructive dialectics launched on Canada. And you can see the effects now. Crime is only being persecuted against certain groups, namely legacy Canadians. Is that answering your question? I don't know. I mean, because the question's bigger than you asked. I think
I
we'll
know
look
the
at China
question.
with envy.
I whoa, say that again.
I think we'll look at China with envy. I think we will be so much more destroyed and torn down than China
Envy.
is. Yeah, because they're, like I say, they're still a nation state. They still have a people.
Okay, I got you like loud and clear. And yeah, maybe you can jump in and tell me what you think about that.
Well, I think I'm going to go back to Navneet's statement because I really do believe that I share his perspective, given the fact that I've worked in government, I've been around the world, and certainly I have lived among politicians for quite some time. And I have to say, they are hypocrites, they are liars, they do play the game of deceit. It is called optics politics. They'll promise everything, deliver nothing. They play the people. They are not accountable or transparent, and they screw us over at every corner. And they want their vote banks to cheer for them, like the millions of foreign international students, the immigrants who come here, the subsidies they get, the freebies they get. And now we have Carney, Sir King, Lord, telling them that I'm going to build you a whole bunch of homes, 4,000 homes, and we're going to use the taxpayer to pay a few billion in order for you to have that. See what a great country this is? And each unit is going to cost $3 million. Salute. Carney is not a leader. He is, as far as I'm concerned, appointed by the deep state. And the deep state does exist. It consists of global elites like Bill Gates, Klaus, Soros, other, some would say the Rockefeller family, the Rothschilds, the Larry Finks, the Vanguards, you name it, lots of bankers in there, global elites, who are in fact implementing an agenda that started in Canada in 1981 when Brian Mulroney was at the helm. And over those years, it got edited, redeveloped, and became, under Harper, the New World Order agenda, which had to do and was linked to the United Nations, the Paris Accord, etc., etc. The United Nations, WEF, WHO, all of those organizations are part of the global elite deep state. They are real people and they have an evil agenda. And the agenda is to take advantage of taxpayers to make us pay with no accountability, no transparency, and it's too damn bad if you don't like it or not. So what? We owe you nothing. There are no laws that make them accountable to us. And who do the politicians, the liars, and the hypocrites in Ottawa serve? It's not the people. There are no laws that require those hypocrites to serve us. None. This is not a constitutional republic. It is not we the people, government by the people, for the people. It's you're going to pay for us to implement our agenda. And I feel, as a Canadian, I was outraged today that the likes of someone like Mark Carney, who identifies as a European, whose wife comes from Britain, no less, who would make an announcement that Canada supports the Palestinians forming a state, their own state in Gaza. You know, I have one thing to say to Mark Carney, and it's Elon and his wonderful little mem. I'm not going to say it here, but it starts with a G and the last word starts with a Y, and in the middle there's an F word. Because he does not represent Canada. He does not represent Canadians. Did he have a referendum? Did he ask us what we thought about it? We have been telling him what we think about it. We're tired of the terrorists in Canada. We're tired of people coming here and taking over our highways. Our values are not Muslim values. I'm very sorry, but I don't support the deep state. And they are globalist elites who are pulling the strings behind the scenes, including King Charlie, including, well, Donald Trump has given them the middle finger, so they don't even go there with him. But look at Keir Starmer. Ha! What a joke! He is part of that deep state puppetry. These leaders are puppets, and they're being controlled by the deep state, and they're screwing Canadians over while we sit there and listen and say, ah, well, he's doing the best he can. Bullshit. That's all I'm going to say. Sorry, John, I went off on a rant, but certainly this is a topic as of today. When I saw that announcement, I've had it. I've had enough of this bullshit in this country. Canada does not support a Palestinian state on the border of Israel, regardless of Israel. And we need to
Hallelujah.
remember what happened on October 7th. That was a crime against all of us, a crime against humanity. So, no, I support none of this bullshit.
I
Can I?
completely understand, and yeah, and I agree. I hope you're wearing your hijab as we speak right now. Vlad, you want to jump in? I'm
I
just
just
kidding.
wanted to
I'm
say
kidding. I'm
I
kidding.
I just want to say I have no fundamental disagreement with the word that lovely woman said. The only difference I think I have with her is what she refers to as a deep state. I refer to as the Comintern. I think it is, and Keir Starmer and Mark Carney, and the people from the WEF and the people from Klaus Schwab School for Future Leaders, and the former leader of New Zealand. I mean, these are all people we can point to. Oh, the UN elites, of course, and the European Union elites are all part of the Comintern. I just look at the deep state as being a bureaucracy of a republic. But fundamentally, in terms of all of the attributes she named and the things that are going on in the values, yeah, I totally agree. She's absolutely right. And as for and as for October 7th, that was it was an atrocity. It was an atrocity that, and here's the weird thing about it. I mean, it's great. It's music to my ears to hear somebody say what she said about it, because what happened is it was used to provoke the Israeli response, and then they weaponized the Israeli response to make them appear to be the bad actor, and it worked. And it divided the Canadian right, and by right, of course, I mean like rational libertarians who are resistant to state propaganda. But it was amazing to me that the 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 left slash Islamic plan to weaponize a rational Israeli response to a grotesque act of terrorism on October 7th really did work. The amount of anti-Semitism is now staggeringly high, higher than it's ever been in Canada, probably ever. And it's a result of a tremendous joint propaganda effort between the left and Islam. So it was really music to my ears to hear her say that, somebody who's truly resistant to that astonishing propaganda at the level that we saw for the vaccines. Anyway, that's all. Just wanted to say that. Thank you, man.
Okay, thank you, Vlad. Like every opinion here, it's Turning Point Canada, freedom of speech, and I am not gonna. Obviously, if we fall into like some crazy stuff, logically, Navneed, you have your hand. You did raise your hand. Come on, jump in, my friend. Let's
Yeah, I
go.
few minutes I was away. Something had come up that needed my attention, but I am hearing for the last few minutes now. See, whatever ranting and whatever helplessness we express in different spaces, we have to understand to the depth of the problems, and that is centralized system that has been thrusted upon humanity since 1776. Please understand that. It's my opinion, but you can differ, you can have your view, and that is the beauty when we say debate should be allowed. As long as you are not doing physical violence, let's debate. Anybody can come and debate with me. I have no problem. Anybody like Charlie Kirk used to debate. He was assassinated. Point I'm making is this: humanity, the human is one race, by the way. Humanity is one race. Whether you are born here, there, black, brown, white, Canada, US, India, Europe, doesn't matter where you are, Middle East, decentralized power structure system has been totally now destroyed, if I would say, with this centralized structure that has been imposed upon humanity starting 1776. If I say the Vivek Ramaswamy's example, when he was talking and going all over United States for presidential bid, and then he came and supported Trump, and then Elon jumped in, put his hat in the ring, and supported with money and all out, and Trump won. I am saying all these spaces that we run, or this particular uh, uh, I would say a project that John has taken up, and we are part and parcel starting from beginning. Turning Point Canada could be a political party which can take masses by by you know by storm. If I say by storm, because people are helpless. Uniparty system is doing the damage because they're all the same, no matter which party you vote. That's why American
And
party Elon
Navneet,
Musk launched. No, hold on.
Navneet,
I'm just cornering.
hold on, Navneet,
Yeah.
hold on,
Okay.
Navneet.
Okay.
Let me
Okay.
tell you something, okay?
Yeah.
It
Let me
will.
put a
No,
thought
no. I
across what
just.
I'm trying
I
to say.
hold on, buddy. Hold on.
Okay. Okay.
Let me
Go
just
ahead.
say something, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Turning Point Canada, like you just said, the party, politics party, will happen, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Go
It's
ahead,
okay.
sir.
See, that's organic growth takes time. See, organic growth takes its own time. What deep state does, whether you define as a deep state or you say no, they are individual people behind the curtain, as the last speaker was saying, it doesn't matter. Point I'm making is this: if we do not have the resources, we cannot make it happen, because it's very important, and resources are what they are snatching away from us. They are using our taxpayer dollar and funding the war in Ukraine. So NGOs is a we just learned Dodge USA, and I always said Dodge Canada is needed, Dodge India is needed. Department of Government Efficiency that Elon and Vivek was launching, and then Vivek was thrown out, and Vivek is a different person now. He doesn't speak that openly anymore. He's just focused with his governor election in Ohio. Point I'm making is this: decentralized power system, it proves the very important phrase of Shakespeare: power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So decentralized system, this MLA, MP, the freedom of speech. See, the moment, John, you launch a party, or we are maybe 11 people together, come together, launch a party, do a banking account, get some funding, we will come with our own constitution. Okay, you cannot speak, Nav cannot speak, because now we are Turning Point board of directors or executives. We have to make sure what we speak is right and nobody gets offended. That is the centralized power structure lacuna. That is, see, when you have decentralized power structure, and I'll tell you something very powerful, where I raised my hand when somebody was saying about burning of a book and all that. There were large number of libraries burnt in India during the invasions, and I think you guys know about it. Libraries were burnt after burnt. They were burnt one after the another. Libraries were burnt to the ground, burnt to the ashes. But they could still not burn the conviction of the people of that country. And then they decided how to divide and conquer it. And British came before that invasions happened. British colonized the whole world anyway. So British have to pay for their karma. So karma is very powerful. Karma is a concept that as you reap as you sow. You reap as you sow. So now what is happening, unless we have a decentralized power structure system, that a journal, retired journal, was talking, I think few months ago in one of the American spaces. He was saying that neighbors, talk to your neighbors, Get ready. This is coming to that level. And that's what is called, because everybody needs to awaken. Oh, police will come and see, police will come and protect me. We are living in a civilized society where nobody will kill anybody. And that's how, for millions of years, civilizations have lived. But there have been fights also, like kings fought, Ottoman Empire. You can study what happened then, how the Christianity and Islam had the huge wars have happened, and they will still happen. But our problem right now is we have to focus on our current problem. Current problem is, in Canada, they will bring the same uh, freedom of speech will be curtailed like it is being done in UK. That is our immediate problem. Then they are taking our taxes away. They are putting six, seven, $8,000 property tax to the houses. You tell me, a retired man, 60-year, 65-year-old, who has closed his business, how will he? I know many people who have sold their houses. My neighbor have just sold. So point I'm making is this: they are using our money. NGOs are funded by government, and Dodge US has exposed everything. And Elon has been thrown out or whatever. He went on his own. But now today we saw in that Charlie Kirk's, um, they were sitting together. It was a music to our ear when I was listening to some other stuff. Very nice. At least they were sitting together. So it's very important that people come together, and on the spaces when people are speaking over each other, which I just saw an hour, couple of hours ago, where CBF was there. I mean, we can raise our hands. People speak longer. It only shows their character. There is a very famous phrase I speak sometime, but I won't take the time here to speak that because that's in another language. Point is this: unless we create these small pockets of decentralized power structure, we will not survive. Deep state, whatever you want to name it, is very powerful. They can freeze your accounts. That's what they are doing now. With digital ID system, I just heard Vietnam, they closed 86 million accounts of people because they did not have digital ID. First they give you free, then they British served free tea in India during their colonization time. They will bring tea and they will give tea free to Indians. That's what they did in long time. We call Indians native Indians because they thought they came on Columbus came on the land of India. We all know those stories. But point is this: can we protect Canadian sovereignty? And with this sovereignty, I want to say one more thing, and I'll land my plane. Each individual is a sovereign nation in itself. Please understand this. And this is not my sentence. I met a 124-year-old guy in Alaska. 124-year-old guy, a native Canadian, you can say, native Indians. And I was on a cruise long time back. It is before the COVID hit. And this guy spoke this line: each individual is a sovereign nation. By COVID, they did that destruction to the body. Somebody was talking right now before me. So when we talk about this classified information and national security, where is the individual security that is being compromised in the name of for the people, by the people, in the name of voting every 4 years, this government, that government? So the fight is big, but I think Charlie Kirk's assassination has ignited people so much that people are waking up, and surely, but slowly, these things will happen. We need to do something, that is create some decentralized power structure. People of 11 people, 21 people, 31 people, if they can get together and do something where they have big chunk of lands and organic farming. I don't care what you practice, what you preach, as long as you are not praying on the road. Why are you praying on the road in Toronto? They are doing the same thing in India, and Modi is helping them. The Modi is the guy whom people think all over the world is a Hindu guy. He is following the path of deep state and destroying India as we speak. Most of the Indians don't understand it. It's unbelievable. The power of deep state and legacy media is, thank God Elon bought in 42 or 44 billion dollar this platform where we are talking. But here also, Hana says she's shadow banned. I have a lady, Maria Worth, who has a lot of following. She says I'm shadow banned all the time. So we have to be very careful and navigate through this whole thing uh, together, create these spaces as we make them big. Because the moment space is big, I'll tell you, be ready for the heat. Because heat will come when you become powerful. As long as they think Nav has no power, Navneet has no power, Hana, who is Hana? Who cares? John can do all the create all the website, all the crowdfunding. But the moment you have $10 million, the moment you have chapters in BC and Alberta and all the provinces of Canada, and you have right people speaking the right things, there will be a problem, because then you are hitting them hard. See, look, Jagmeet Singh kept the country ransom by supporting it from outside. How many years did he do that? Or we can say he wanted a pension or whatever. I never voted even once liberal. No, never even once. Never voted even the first election when Trudeau was. People say, "Oh, Trudeau is very very smart guy, very nice person, very handsome guy." Even then, I had not voted him. And I saw through Modi in 2015 when he came to Toronto and was going from Toronto to Vancouver with Harper. Prime Minister Harper was Canadian Prime Minister at that time. I saw through Modi at that time. But Modi has still won 3 elections. But in last election, he lost. His numbers came down. Morally, if Modi had any morality, he should have resigned. But he will not. See, these people are crooked and evil. That is what the crux of the matter is. They talk good, they want to look good, but they do evil. Pierre Poliver lost the election because of his own blunders and mistakes, because he did not take a stand. If he took a stand, he would have won hands down. I still voted for his candidate in my town because I knew her personally, but she still can't do anything because your hands are tight. And the same thing will happen with us. The moment we grow big, we have to curtail. So we have to be very careful how we navigate this movement. You need the right people, bright and right people who have no agenda, who are fearless, who cannot be bought out by anybody like Charlie Kirk and like Trump and like Elon Musk. We don't have that kind of money, but money will follow. If you are doing the right thing, money will follow. It's very, very, very fundamental. But it's a very long way, long shot. We will do what we can. Thank you, John, for
Absolutely.
hosting it.
No, thank
And
you very
very nice,
much.
very nice.
Thank you very
And
much,
and I would
Navneet.
I would request you one more thing. Why don't you give mic to Manjeet? Manjeet is very scholarly person. He's in the listening panel. Bring him on board. I asked him a question yesterday. Would you like to be the part of the turning point movement that is taking shape in Canada?
Oh,
Let's see what
absolutely.
he has to say.
Yeah,
Manjeet.
absolutely. Thank you
Okay,
very
thank
much,
you.
Navneet. This is the Turning Point Canada Freedom of Speech. Hey, Mike, I know I just add you. You want to, I assume you want to say a little something and jump on it if you still listening, my man.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'm here.
Sorry, Manjeet, if I just call your name and you are not ready, but that's okay. Manjeet, if you want to take mic, please do take. Otherwise, it's okay. Thank you so much.
No,
Thank you.
I was talking to Mike. Mike, go ahead, please, and thank you. I'm pretty sure you want to jump in. You can hear me loud, 5 by 5, loud and clear.
Sure can you hear me okay?
Absolutely, my friend. Go ahead,
Thank you.
sir. The floor,
Um,
the floor is all yours.
thank you very much. I'm actually an acquaintance of Ace, and the reason that I'm listening and observing and interjecting, I guess, is because I'm a old friend of hers, and we've been sort of surveying the cultural scene for quite some time. I really understand Navneet's position here before what he was just saying, that this is a situation that has to take place from the ground roots level. It has to be a decentralized, well, not even an authority, just a decentralized community, basically. And it has to start small and it has to be under the radar. And I believe that for such a community as multicultural as this little small panel that we're looking at here right now is. I mean, and there must be multiple nationalities in here. I'm a French native Canadian, those native Indians that we were just talking about a moment ago. As I'm sure you are. John, is it?
Yes, I am. Cree from
Uh,
my dad's side.
yeah, from mine, it's my mother's side, French Acadian, native. In any case, it's different confederations in Canada. I just, as I listen, and believe me, there's not a lot that was just said that I have to disagree with. I belong to, and I'm sure, John, you can agree that different language groups, especially among the Algonquin people in Canada, are the most um, threatened minority groups in the country. For example, in the Mi'kmaq Band, about 39 kilometers north of me right now, there are only 49 native speakers left in the world that speak that dialect.
That's correct.
I understand that this sort of problem, and I'm not going to micromise anything. I'm just sort of getting like a macro view. What I mean by this is that there are communities that have been begging for redemption and for salvation for a century now here in Canada. And I'm not trying to make it an us and them thing, because I just want to make this clear for most of our Canadian people here. We've heard a lot when we were children. I'm about 50. We hear about these, the treaty people have the treaty people. And I understand a lot of Native people believe that they are the treaty people, and they are. But it's also the settlers, it's also the whites, because the treaty is a contract. And two people sat at a table and decided that they weren't going to kill each other anymore. Um, they're all treaty people. And so we're all bound and protected by the same thing. And going back to this, some of the original grievances, like a lot of people in the world believe that healthcare, for example, in Canada, it's free, and that it's this wonderful world-class service. And anybody that's lived here for 10 or 15 years can understand that it certainly isn't. We project an image of ourselves that it seems like a moral hillside or a moral mountainside, whereas we can look down on other people because we have some kind of a moral standard. But in practical terms, in everyday life, it really doesn't work out that way in this country. And some of the at-risk language groups, for example, the ones, some native groups that I've been talking about, and it's even worse when you get into Northern Ontario and Northern Quebec, because these communities are so isolated. And then you take into consideration the social issues and drug abuse. Not just, I'm not trying to make a point of natives here. I'm talking about every single small community all over this country, because Ace is in Victoria and I'm in New Brunswick. It literally is coast to coast. And if you go to any town of more than 15,000 people, the same little tent cities, the same methamphetamine addictions, the same opioid crisis, it's happening everywhere. And all of the original things that we were supposed to be building as a culture, the place that made Canada so beautiful, was that we were busy for a century fixing these things, like running water in Davis Inlet. I'm sure you can agree with me, Ace. This has been a long time coming, and they still don't fucking have it. And even though I don't disagree with anything that was just said, because the world is a smaller place now, it's not just our regional communities, but I just want everybody, especially newer Canadians that might be in this panel that are listening. We had a lot of things that we were trying to fix that have all gotten lost in the wash right now. There's a whole globalist understanding of what Canada is and what Canada should be. I'm not trying to be upset about the situation, but I need everybody to understand, like, we have some long-standing things that we were building on, and we were doing good work, and that's all been lost, especially since COVID, through our further isolation, which exactly goes back to some of the things that was just said by our previous speaker. And like I said, I agree with him. I'm not trying to disagree. What I'm saying is that people that want to build on a community and a grassroots sense of Canada becoming itself again, which is the only way through this decentralization of power. I understand that. I agree with it. It has to happen region by region. 150 years ago, we understood, even though we were very drastic people across this continent, very, very different, we came together in a confederation to make something bigger than ourselves. And we can do it again, certainly. But without the understanding of the underlying problems, without this globalist overview of everything, it's just going to cause more grievance, right? We've got people in Alberta that are blaming the voters in New Brunswick and Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island. People, we have like 72 seats in the whole legislature. We don't have any power. How does anybody think that you can vote your way out of a situation like that? If we're going to be continuously demonized by the West, all of our labor is, I'm going to explain something to everybody in this panel. As soon as the children here reach 16 or 17 years old, they grow up here in this part of of Canada, they want to escape this place. It's still a frontier here. It's a backwater, you know, old school traditional area that the children want to leave. 75% of all the people that I know work in Fort McMurray. They're not from Alberta. So our labor from New Brunswick and from the Maritimes, it gets shipped out. They don't pay taxes to New Brunswick. They pay taxes to Alberta and to British Columbia and to the Yukon. All right. Our labor is gone. There is no inventiveness. There is no ingenuity because everybody wants to get the hell out of this place. Now, that's not to say that it's not a beautiful place and that there's not opportunities here. It's just that the policy of the federal government for the last 35 years, maybe a long time before some of the people in this panel got here, that this has been an ongoing economic policy to disenfranchise one part of the country against the other. And this has been going on for a long time. And now we can see it on a macro level because they're literally splintering and dividing society into smaller and smaller little tribes that don't know how to do anything except for fight against each other. And what I'm trying to say is that unless we understand what Canada was, there's no point in trying to figure out where it's going. Whether they're old timers or whether they're newcomers, we can't do anything together unless we have an understanding. Original Confederation in this country had to do with vast variety of interests, economic, social, religious, all those things very like in India, exactly like in India. You can drive 5 kilometers and there's like 10 different dialects. It's the same thing here. It's just that it's French and Aboriginal. And unless there's an understanding of what it is here, you're literally, and I don't mean anybody here, I just mean the process essentially erases entire experiences and histories of people. Like I said, here we have an Abenaki um, um, group here that only has 49 native speakers left in the world. I don't just mean here right in that village. I mean in the world. And most of those are over 50 years old. So when they die, they're gone. We've talked about this before, Ace, and I don't want to make this a religious thing, but there's been 186 Catholic churches burned in Canada since they claimed that native children were buried in an unmarked grave. There's never been any bones or any human remains found in any way, shape, or form. But yet, churches who may or may not even have had anything to do with what went on in Alberta and British Columbia, they've been burned to the ground. And I know during the previous speaker, we've been talking about religious violence. Do we want to transplant this around the world and exacerbate problems, or do we want to try to understand each other? Because if we want to work at a grassroots level, then we're going to have to really do that. It's not just talk. It's like the previous speaker was saying, like it's not about money. Money does come later. When you have a good idea, people invest in you. And that's true, right? But unless there's an understanding to begin with of what exactly it is that we're building here, there's not even a point. There's no point. So thank you for letting me speak. And it's good to see you, Ace. Thank you.
Absolutely, Mike. And thank you very much for jumping in. Ace, you want to say something about what Mike just talked about? Maybe, maybe not.
Just very briefly, is that we've exchanged different perspectives for some time, and I'm always amazed at his knowledge and background and what he brings to the table in terms of his own understanding. And I'm really glad he joined the space today. We've not always agreed on everything, and that's okay, right? When you're in a discussion or a debate or exchanging points of view. But certainly I can identify with many of the things he said historically. And I haven't been in contact with you, Mike, for quite some time. So it is totally a pleasure to have you join here and to be a part of this discussion. And there's some other people here actually in the space as well. And I'm glad to see them. And this movement will grow. And if it's based on being open to hearing other people's points of views and perspectives, and being open to really digging into the truth and connecting the dots together, That's certainly when I've had that exchange, heated exchange sometimes with people in a debate, when I go back and reflect and do my own digging, I see, holy cow, they were right. Absolutely. They were, in fact, accurate when they communicated those particular pieces of information that maybe weren't in my particular diagrams. So yeah, this is well worth it. And if we can be open to listening what other people have to say and the perspective they bring to the table, I think that's an advantage for Turning Point Canada. And it fits into the philosophy of Charlie Kirk, right? That's what it fits into. So that's basically all I have to say on that, John. Thanks.
Hey, hey, you're welcome, Enya. For once, I'm gonna, I'm gonna be able like to say something, but I just want to say before we close tonight, I want to say thank you so much, Enya. Okay, from the bottom of my heart for believing the way I wrote down article, Navneet, Sayabian, uh, even Parker who just joined us. Without you guys, I would still be a little fish. Okay. And Mike, thank you for jumping in. Sincerely, thank you very much.
Well,
Uh,
c'est-tu français, Jean? C'est Jean, c'est pas Jean, hein?
et c'est John, mais tu peux m'appeler Jean.
Ouais,
Je parle français, oui,
ouais,
absolument.
ouais, OK. Bon, je pensais que j'ai pogné un accent, là. Alors.
Non, 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 du tout, du tout. J'ai grandi au Québec dans le Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean, Dolbeau. Sorry for
Ah oui,
everybody
oui.
who speak French, who speak English. I'm
He
sorry.
grew up. He grew up in the southeastern part of Quebec. Yeah.
That's correct. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Yes, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's the real story. Again, we can talk later on, you and I. I'll
Sure.
explain my whole story. But I do work in. I've been working in law enforcement correction for a little while. I do own a security company, and as we speak, growing out of Nunavut. So yeah, of course, Mike, we can discuss off record, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, I worked in all the divisions of our law processes as a private individual and private prosecutor. So
Great,
I'm sure
great.
there's lots of things for us to talk. Let's talk privately after we're done.
Absolutely, please
Send
and
me a
thank
DM.
you. I will definitely. I just
Thank you.
I'm following you. I will send you a DM, obviously.
Thank
So,
you.
for everyone who's listening as we speak right now, thank you so much. For this, Enya. First of all, Enya, Navneen, obviously, saya bien. Also, Vlad. Okay. For your belief in the content, and your courage to stand with me means more than words can describe. Okay, guys, sincerely, this movement, Turning Point Canada, freedom of speech, like Navneet said, it's more than just like chit chat on space or on YouTube or whatsoever. Again, thank you to Jim who give me that website domain name. I'm sorry, excuse my French. Domain name, okay? tpcan.ca. It's coming. Parker is working with me on it, uh, etc. And let's say you stood by me and we built Turning Point Canada. We are going to build Turning Point Canada. Honest to God, Navneed, I would be so happy to see one day, maybe not tomorrow, obviously, but hey, to see Turning Point Canada to become a political party. Wow. Oh my. I'm gonna have tears from the bottom of my heart if this happened. I'm ready to invest. I'm ready to invest. I'm investing my time, money, even Parker. Hey Parker, what's up? How are you doing, buddy?
Hey, but hey, John. I just want to say about the website. It will be up probably by the end of the week or next week. Uh, Unfortunately, I'm working as well on other stuff. So with my job, so uh,
Great.
I'm doing it on last time. So
No worries. Thank you very much. Thank you for hey. It came out came out of nowhere. Parker, hey Parker, okay, get me this, get me that, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
and
basically.
I was like, wow, thank you so much for doing this. On your free time, in the middle of work, because the air needs to be secure. And Parker is right there as well. Part time, reporter for us on Crowded War Talks. Navneet, you want to say something? I'm pretty sure you want to say one more thing. I am convinced you want to say something else.
See, it's a peace is the prerequisite of prosperity. Okay, it's not a rocket science. Peace is prerequisite for prosperity, and we have had it so good here that we are taking it for granted. People all over the globe, why do they want to come to Europe, US, Canada? We all know why. Quality of life. That quality of life is being challenged very cleverly by people who want to use this division or that division. I'm not even saying what. And religion is very powerful tool to use to divide and conquer. So we should stay the way we were 10 years ago when I came to this country from US in 2000, I think 2005 or 6. I traveled first time, and then I came many times, and then finally I immigrated here in 2009. Worked in aerospace and defense in USA in Los Angeles, and we have seen how California has been destroyed. See, the leadership is all that matters. If you do not have a right pilot, the space or the ship will wreck. That is a given thing. The family is institution is the same. So we are doing something unique. I think it came out of nowhere, and Parker is helping with the website. That's great to know. And we got the domain name by from somebody who registered it long time ago. So something is happening, and things happen for a reason. Nothing happens in the vacuum, and good people are always more in number. Please remember that. It's a 80-20, 80-10-10 rule. Most people want to follow, and 10% people, those who are ruling, are evil. They are clever. Very cleverly, they have controlled the whole system. And it's not done in 1 year, 2 year, or even a decade. For centuries, this has been done. So hopefully we will have some helplessness goes away if you do something. Action is very important. Pessimism will kill you. So we get that in our blood. We never get pessimism, never can touch us. Manjeet can know it because Manjeet comes from the same part of India where I come from. So we will do our best. Canadians deserve free speech. Canadians deserve criminal free communities, crime free communities. We don't want to see tents and drugs, which is a scene in every town now. It is being done by design, by design. You guys are in law enforcement, so you know it. So I'll not go in personal thing. Maybe personally we can talk one to one. There's a lot of things we have been doing, and we will keep doing till our last breath. We will do the right thing to the family, to the community. But I know we are in the state of helplessness because our money is taken away from us and being used against us. That is happening to citizens all across globe in all democracies. And there are 56 countries which are not even democracies, which are Islamic Republic. And then we live in a Christian country, as somebody was saying. See, Canada, US is a Christian country. So how can you say it's the Islamic values or Canadian values? Are you gone crazy? He should have been, the legacy media should be jumping up and down against Carney and against, I mean, Prime Minister of UK. But no, because legacy media is sold out. They are bought out. Money is buying them. and people who are more in numbers, they are divided. Somebody is supporting Carney, somebody is supporting uh, liberal conservative, and then Green Party and NDP, and all this game is being played. So I don't know where Turning Point will fit in there, but we will do what we can. Best idea would be to have the chapters as we grow our spaces. We go all out. Money should not be a constraint. We should get the money. See, 1.4 million, 1.3 million dollar even Maxim Burney had. He himself told in his one of his spaces I was attending. He follows me, I follow him. But unless you do the right thing, people will fither away. We have no agenda other than Canadian citizens' betterment. Each individual is a sovereign nation itself. Why you are making it mandatory? Digital. See, there is a country in somewhere where they have made the cashless society, and society was totally destroyed because the very last hope of yours will be gone away the moment they are controlling you with digital ID. See, this is just a sham when they say it's for classified information. Classified information. This is, I know all about it because my people, my family, my friends, they have been in armed forces and law forces. We know all about it. How this game is being played. This is a game being played against very citizens. So peace is the prerequisite of prosperity, and that's what they are hell bent upon destroying in the communities. And drugs, alcohol, all these body counts, new philosophy of body counts, gender. There are only two genders, male and female. I mean, there can be all kinds of exceptions, can never be made rules. That is the fundamental rule of software coding. Exceptions can never be made rules. So they are making, deliberately destroying the society and communities. And this step of recognizing Palestine as a state is one step in that direction alone. And that's what they have done in 1947. They created a country out of country. That's what they did. But that's another long story. And then they are more interested in creating a Khalistan. That is why Australia, UK, where they support this movement of Khalistan. That's why you have so many MPs in Canada from Sikh lineage. I mean, because I was talking this to Hana the other day, 2 years ago, I think we were talking about it, when the elections were taking place here, how they want those people in power who are against India. That's what they want. They don't want people, and when I speak against Modi, they will say they will club me with Khalistani. If I'm speaking against Modi, they cannot think open with an open mind. I am not a Khalistani guy, but I'm still against Modi because Modi is playing in the hands of that deep state. He's not helping India. People think he's India, but people may differ. They may have different opinions. We had a space in the morning, very powerful space, Indian time, where somebody else was hosting, who I met only in the Twitter jungle. So there's a lot of people are speaking out. People will speak up. Surely and slowly these movements will take shape, but time is running out. I'm afraid I have to say that in the last closing. Time is running out. We do not have time at our hand. So even if you have to run the space every day, I'll tell you, I ran 95 days, every day a space during the election in India. And I'll tell you, I had a contribution in putting less seats in BJP's coffin when that election was happening 4 years ago, because these people are destroying India. With Indian leaders are destroying it. So now we are on a movement. We want a Hindu homeland like Israel has a homeland. That's what we are working on. We will put a UN petition. I'm a Canadian citizen, but we have to do what is right for our homeland. Like you saw the spaces when Iran was being attacked, there were some spaces being run. There was a lady from Toronto. She was running a beautiful space, amazing space she was running. Why did she fled from Iran? Why people fled from uh, then why are you bringing the same Islamic values to these countries? Why? Why do you want to pray on the road in this country? But nobody, people in power are not questioning that. That is the challenge we have. And the challenge is huge. Look at the Dearborn city in America, in Texas, Dearborn city in the United States. I mean, look at the handle of Amy. She's under attack. She's openly saying, if something happens to me, it is because of these people who are hell bent upon destroying America. So please don't underestimate the power of deep state, whatever you want to name it, whether you want to call it individually, people, I mean, Bill Gates, this, that, Soros, and all those names, Rockefeller, and all that, or you want to say one name, deep state. Because Vivek Ramaswamy was asked this question on a legacy media by a very famous anchor. What do you mean by deep state, Vivek? And Vivek answered it very diplomatically because it's very hard to define. So we have to keep going. We need to pinpoint right people very quickly, and I think it will be taking time, money, resources, everything. We have things to do for our own living, and we are all busy, as Parker is giving his time to building this. Very nice. I'm very glad that this movement is taking shape. Thank you, Manjeet, for coming on the space. We appreciate it. I remember your phone call when last elections were happening about taking but whatever happened. Let's go for future. Let's think about the future and do the best we can. Thank you so much, host, again giving me an opportunity to speak in the closing
Absolutely.
remarks. Thank you.
Absolutely, Navneet. Thank you very much. Manjeet, would you like to say something? Or we're good? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Jump in, Manjeet. Come on.
No, it's all good. No, thank you for giving me a moment here. Uh, I, I agree with most of what I've heard so far. I think one thing which I think all probably agree, and I think all people who are present here at least, inaction is not an option. I think given all the problems, or at least the challenges we are facing, or at least people who are recognizing the problem, uh, they need to act. And there are a number of experiments which are people are doing, number of movements are moving on, and I think time probably is right. I think for all efforts, and I think eventually a bigger uh, movement, or a bigger impact can happen if everybody's on board. I think, yeah, inaction is not an option. So yeah, absolutely. Kudos to starting this initiative. Very glad to see this happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Manjeet, like sincerely for jumping in, and for the from the bottom of my heart, everybody, like thank you so much for believing in Turning Point, not in me, but in Turning Point Canada, freedom of speech. We're gonna build this out brick by brick, and this is only the only way we will succeed, guys. Okay, so Canadian deserve truth. Deserve the truth without censorship. Together, we are providing like journalists without permission. I've been doing this for a few months now. Parker can testify with a serious voice. But this is this is the beginning, guys. Okay, Turning Point Canada will grow and it will thrive because of the trust and the passion of voice like yours tonight. Yours, your voice, guys. Wake up. Time to wake up, Canadian. Okay? I will dedicate my time to this show for you guys. Let's, kick some goddamn ass. And that's it. That's all for tonight. Thank you very much. It was the turning point. Thank you, Inya. Thank you, everyone, for jumping in. Appreciate it. See you on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time.